Hey everybody, this is Greg with Medical Muscle, and today I want to make a video talking about my journey to medicine, kind of like my backstory, and also why this channel is called Medical Muscle. Because muscle is what got me into medicine. So, when I was very young, my dad had a construction company, and I would join him in doing construction from the age of 13 all the way until 20. What he'd do is buy houses and remodel them, and I would help him. So I was digging ditches, I was doing manual labor, working with a jackhammer at a very young age. And that combination with sports helped me build some pretty good muscles. I was pretty strong. And I found that I loved weightlifting, I loved bodybuilding, and I had a knack for it. So after high school was done, I got into competitive weightlifting, powerlifting, and bodybuilding. And I did quite well in both. In powerlifting, I ended up breaking multiple state records, one American record, and one world record in the bench press. I was really obsessed. And then in bodybuilding, I would cut down and compete in shows. With bodybuilding, I loved the focus. I loved that you had to, follow a regimen every single day, eat and follow a diet that you really didn't want to do, and maintain that and do it week after week after week, month after month, because it requires a lot from you to do well in that sport. So I love those sports. I loved weightlifting, but at a certain point, I ended up injuring myself really, really badly. I injured my back and my shoulder, so I could no longer bench press, I couldn't squat, I couldn't deadlift, I couldn't do a lot of the same exercises that I was really good at. So I got a little sad about that. At the time I started school at a junior college, and I was going the engineering route. So I thought I wanted to be an engineer because my dad was in construction, and I kind of like the visual spatial three-dimensional drawings. I'm good at that, and I was taking AutoCAD classes, but it wasn't my passion. It wasn't really something that I was really into. And I was living with my parents at the time, and around that time the construction company ended up failing, and my parents lost their house, and they had to move to a different state. And basically they said you could move with us, or you could stay and just try to figure it out on your own. And that's what I did, is I stayed back home. I stayed back in California where I grew up, stayed there, continued going to school, and worked really hard. I became a personal trainer. At the same time, I was also still doing construction on the side, odd jobs, replacing toilets, painting, digging trenches still, because I was good at that. Gardening, did that too. But I was doing a lot of personal training, and once my personal training business started growing, I did that full time for 11 years. So I was a trainer for a long time. And it was great because training exposed me to a lot of different injury modalities, a lot of different things, a lot of different people, and with a lot of different issues. Okay, everybody's got something. Everybody's got a knee, a back, something like that. And I started getting really good at it. But at the same time, I was going to school, and initially I hadn't done that well when I was doing the engineering route. But then I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll try physical therapy, because being a personal trainer seemed like a logical decision to go to physical therapy, because it's kind of on the same spectrum. But over time, I learned that the things that I really enjoyed about being a personal trainer, seeing a client for years, almost a decade, you don't really get that with a PT. You don't get to have that long-term connection with a person and get to know them, and not only help them with their injuries, but get to see them progress. I mean, I had 70-year-old clients who could do handstand push-ups or pull-ups. I thought that was really fun, and reduce their injuries at the same time. So I really enjoyed that. So I was applying to PT schools, or to do my to get my bachelor's in kinesiology for PT, and I didn't get into the one school that I wanted to get into. I was accepted to some other schools, but I didn't get into that one school, and I decided, you know what, this is not really what I want to do. I just knew at that point that PT just wasn't fulfilling a lot of the things that I wanted, because personal training kind of covered a lot of that. And then I thought, you know, I want to understand more about the human body. I was taking anatomy at that same time, and I was really enjoying it. And I was realizing, like, if I go to PT, yeah, I'm going to learn the musculoskeletal system, but I'm not going to understand drugs. I'm not going to understand genetic conditions to the same extent. And I really loved learning. So I decided, you know what? I want to pursue this crazy dream of going into medicine. So I decided to change routes. I changed my major to biology because it covered basically all the requirements that I didn't have, right? So organic chemistry, biochem, bacteriology, all that stuff. And before that point, I had never done really well in school. I actually had to retake Gen Chem a couple times. Yeah, I absolutely hated it. Because I think it was because I was going for a major that I also didn't like, and it just seemed painful. But going back, maybe a little older, with a very clear goal in my mind to be a doctor, everything changed. I started getting A's in every class. In organic chemistry, I had the best grade in my class. I would have never thought that, struggling so hard in Gen Chem and then just dominating in organic chemistry and then getting one of the top grades in biochem. And I'm not trying to like brag, but if I wasn't going into medicine, I probably wouldn't have cared to do that well. But I found that those classes are going to help me understand the human body better, then I'm going to focus. Okay? So I really put a huge amount of energy and effort into school. Now, granted, at the same time, I was working full time. So I would train people early in the morning, go to school, and then come back and finish a shift. I was working a full job. And it was really hard, but hey, I paid my entire undergrad with cash from working. It took me longer, but hey, it worked out for me. So I applied to a bunch of schools, medical schools, took the MCAT, applied to a bunch of schools, and I ran into kind of a difficult situation. My initial grades were not very good, and even though I had done very well in the last couple of years, those things just don't expunge from your transcripts. So it put me in a situation where I just couldn't stand out as a medical student. So that's why I came to St. George. And I gotta tell you, it's been one of the best experiences of my life. This is probably one of the best I've done in school, period. Which is crazy because it's like, yeah, I was doing well in undergrad, but like here, I'm doing really well, and this is really hard. But what's cool about medical school is, like, if you like it and you enjoy this stuff, this material is fun. You know, it's things that I've always wanted to learn, and I'm learning it. And so that's just kind of like my backstory. I'm here, and I'm enjoying everything about this. And I hope you guys, I hope you really enjoy this, because it's very hard. But if you enjoy it, it makes it fulfills something. It's like this little spark in your mind. If you're always wanting to know something about the human body, it'll fulfill all those desires of like understanding everything. So I found it very enjoyable, and I hope you guys do too, because it's a really cool, fun experience. All right, guys. So I know that was long. I hope you guys have an excellent term, and I hope you really kick butt.